Americans buy bacon thinking they're getting the same rich, smoky, satisfying strips they grew up with. But the truth is far uglier. Behind the cheerful packaging and hardwood-smoked promises, the grocery bacon industry has quietly turned into a factory of shortcuts, where water injection, chemical curing, and artificial smoke flavoring replace real craftsmanship. And while you're paying full price, many brands are selling you pork strips that shrink, sizzle away to nothing, and taste like salty disappointment. Today, we're re-exposing the 5 grocery store bacon brands you must avoid, and the 3 that actually deliver real flavor. For decades, bacon has held a sacred place on the American breakfast table. The sound of the sizzle, the aroma filling the kitchen, the perfect balance of crisp and tender. It feels timeless, comforting, familiar. But behind that nostalgia is a modern industry quietly reshaped by corporate cost-cutting, where tradition has been replaced by speed, flavor replaced by chemicals, and honest craftsmanship replaced by profit-maximizing shortcuts. Today's grocery store bacon isn't the same product your parents or grandparents enjoyed. It has become a battlefield, where marketing teams work harder than the smokehouses, and where the image of bacon matters far more than the actual food inside the package. What most shoppers don a tea realize is how aggressively the bacon industry has shifted from real smoking and slow curing to cheap, industrial processes designed to stretch every penny. Instead of relying on time, patience, and high-quality pork, many companies inject their bacon with water, brine, and sodium phosphates. The goal isn't better taste, it's heavier weight. The more water a strip can hold, the more the company earns, even if that water disappears into the pan and leaves you with shriveled, disappointing scraps. Families think they're buying a full pound of bacon, but in reality, they're paying a premium for liquid that never ends up on the plate. The shortcuts don't stop there. Traditional smoking used to take days, allowing real wood flavor to slowly penetrate the meat. But modern brands rush the process, giving the bacon only a quick blast of high-heat smoke or relying almost entirely on liquid smoke flavoring. It's a laboratory imitation of what bacon once was, a fast-food version of a product that deserves slow-food respect. And when companies can't create real flavor authentically, they mask the problem with salt, often pushing sodium levels to extremes that overwhelm your meal and leave you thirsty for hours. All of this manipulation hides behind attractive labels. Hardwood smoked, thick cut, artisan, center cut. These phrases make shoppers feel confident, but they rarely reflect the truth. As you're about to see, 5 major brands are cutting corners so aggressively they're practically redefining what bad bacon tastes like, and 3 others are proving that real bacon craftsmanship still exists. Worst number 1, the water-injected imposter. The first bacon disaster on this list has built an entire identity around being the affordable family choice, complete with big value packs and cheerful farm imagery meant to convince shoppers they were getting a generous helping of real, hearty bacon. But behind that friendly exterior is one of the most aggressive cases of water manipulation in the entire bacon aisle. This brand doesn't rely on pork quality or traditional curing to deliver flavor. Instead, it leans almost entirely on water injection, sodium phosphates, and artificial smoke to engineer a product that looks like bacon on the shelf, but behaves like a wet paper towel in the pan. When you open the package, the slices feel unusually soft and flimsy. A red flag for any experienced bacon buyer. That S because the producers pump the meat with brine solutions specifically designed to increase weight and extend shelf life. You're not paying for bacon, you're paying for trapped liquid. And the moment that artificially boosted moisture hits the heat, it gushes out, flooding your skillet with a murky pool of steam, foam, and bubbling brine. By the time the water evaporates, the strips have shrunk into thin, brittle fragments that look nothing like the generous slices advertised on the front of the package. Flavor-wise, the situation isn't any better. Instead of developing real smoky depth through slow wood-based smoking, this brand relies heavily on liquid smoke flavoring, a shortcut that gives the bacon a harsh one-dimensional profile that tastes more like chemicals impersonating smoke than anything naturally developed. The saltiness hits hard, not because of craftsmanship, but because the company uses salt as its main flavor crutch. When you inject water and remove real flavor, salt becomes the only thing left to trick your tongue. What makes this brand particularly frustrating is that it markets itself as the practical, family-friendly option. Yet for every dollar spent, you're getting less edible bacon and more evaporating water than almost any competitor. It's a classic case of a brand exploiting budget-conscious shoppers by selling them quantity over quality. This isn't affordable bacon. It's a cleverly packaged dilution strategy disguised as savings. Worst number 2, the fake premium store brand. This next offender hides behind one of the most effective illusions in the grocery world, the premium store brand. With sleek black packaging, elegant typography, and buzzwords like hardwood smoked artisan quality and center cut, this bacon is engineered to make you feel like you've outsmarted the system. Like you re-getting gourmet quality at a store brand price. But that confidence is exactly what they're counting on. Because once you look past the packaging, you discover that this so-called premium product is little more than factory-grade bacon wearing a fancy costume. The first deception comes from the center cut label. While it sounds luxurious, it actually means you're paying more for less bacon. The company trims away the end sections of the pork belly, the very parts that provide the fat-to-meat contrast that makes bacon crispy, flavorful, and satisfying. What you're left with is a narrow, uniform strip that looks neat but tastes muted. It's the bacon equivalent of removing the crust from bread and charging extra for the privilege. The smoke flavor is another piece of the illusion. True hardwood smoking requires patience, airflow, and time, usually days, for the wood to infuse the meat naturally. But this brand relies on short smoking sessions measured in hours, followed by a generous splash of liquid smoke and natural flavoring to force the aroma into the meat. The result isn't terrible, but it's undeniably flat, a forgettable generic smokiness that disappears as soon as the strip hits the pan. Texture is where the disappointment really sets in. Despite the premium branding, the slices cook unevenly, with edges that crisp before the center has even rendered. Some batches produce rubbery chewiness, others turn crumbly and brittle, and because the fat content is lower, thanks to that center-cut trimming, the bacon struggles to deliver the mouthfeel people expect. This store-brand scam works because shoppers believe they're upgrading without paying national brand prices. But in reality, they're getting an underpowered, over-marketed, middle-of-the-road product that fails to deliver flavor, texture, or value. It's not premium bacon, it's a carefully disguised downgrade. Worst number 3, the budget bacon disaster. Every grocery store has that one ultra-cheap bacon option sitting on the bottom shelf, wrapped in plastic so thin it feels like it might tear just from being picked up. It's marketed as the everyday value choice, the bacon for big families, tight budgets, and quick breakfasts. But this is the perfect example of how cheap doesn't always mean smart. This brand isn't designed for flavor, consistency, or even basic cooking performance. It exists for one reason only: to win the race to the lowest price, no matter how much quality gets sacrificed along the way. From the moment you open the package, the problems hit you. Instead of firm, structured slices, you're greeted with limp, watery strips that slide around as if they're soaked in marinade. And in a sense, they are. This bacon is pumped full of moisture-retaining solutions, water, sodium phosphates, and stabilizers, all intended to artificially inflate the weight so the package appears like a better deal. You think you're paying for a pound of bacon, but a shocking portion of that weight simply steams away the moment it hits the pan. Cooking this bacon is a test of patience. The skillet doesn't sizzle, it boils. Thick bubbles of trapped liquid erupt around the strips, creating a foamy puddle instead of the golden fat you'd expect from real bacon. And once the water finally evaporates, you're left with shriveled, paper-thin pieces that bear almost no resemblance to what came out of the package. Some sections burn instantly, turning black within seconds, while other parts remain strangely undercooked and rubbery. Flavor is practically non-existent. The smoke essence tastes synthetic, bitter, and fleeting. It is the kind of bacon where the salt hits your tongue, but the pork flavor never shows up. And because the meat quality itself is low to begin with, no amount of seasoning or smoke flavoring can fix its blandness. The real shame is that this brand targets families trying to stretch their grocery budget. But instead of providing true value, it delivers the worst possible trade-off. A product so diluted and so poorly made that every bite feels like a reminder that you saved money only to lose quality. This isn't breakfast. It's a bargain bin disappointment masquerading as bacon. Worst number 4, the heritage brand betrayal. There's something especially disappointing about a heritage brand gone wrong. This particular company built its reputation over decades, becoming a household name long before modern grocery chains even existed. For years, their bacon symbolized trust, quality, and a kind of no-nonsense American craftsmanship. But somewhere along the way, that legacy turned into a marketing tool rather than a responsibility. Today, this once-beloved brand is surviving on nostalgia while quietly degrading the very standards that made people love it in the first place. The first thing longtime customers notice is the texture. Instead of the balanced crisp and chew experience that real bacon delivers, the slices cook into a tough, rubbery consistency that's more like jerky than breakfast. This isn't an accident. It is the predictable result of aggressive processing methods that prioritize speed and shelf stability over natural fat rendering. When meat fibers are overworked and chemically treated, they tighten up during cooking and create that unpleasant chewiness that no amount of extra time in the pan can fix. Then there's the flavor, which has taken a dramatic downhill slide. Traditional bacon develops its taste through slow curing and extended smoking, allowing pork, salt, and smoke to harmonize naturally. But this brand has embraced the modern shortcut. High-heat smoking combined with liquid smoke additives. The outcome is a harsh, single-note smokiness that overwhelms your palate instead of complementing the pork. It hits quickly, disappears just as fast, and leaves behind a slightly bitter aftertaste that reminds you something isn't quite right. Saltiness is another growing issue. Instead of investing in real flavor development, the company simply cranks up the sodium. The salt is meant to hide the shortcuts, the rushed curing, the inconsistent pork quality, the artificial smoke. But the result is bacon so salty that many people can eat it without pairing it with eggs, bread, or something else to dilute the intensity. What makes this brand the most tragic offender is that it once represented everything good about classic American bacon. Families trusted it. People grew up on it. But now it's a relic wearing its former reputation like a mask, hoping customers won't notice how far its quality has fallen. It's not just bad bacon, it's a betrayal of its own legacy. And worst number 5, the childhood favorite that lost its soul. Few brands trigger childhood nostalgia like this one. For decades, it was the go-to bacon for busy parents, weekend breakfasts, and family gatherings. The commercials were iconic, the jingle unforgettable, and the bright packaging became a symbol of reliable, comforting flavor. But nostalgia is a powerful shield, and this brand has learned to hide behind it. Instead of preserving the quality that made it famous, it now leans heavily on marketing tricks, hoping customers won't notice that the product inside the package has changed dramatically. The most misleading claim is the famous 12-hour natural wood-smoked label splashed across the front. It sounds impressive, like the bacon spent half a day hanging in a traditional smokehouse, absorbing rich, slow-developed flavor. But the truth is far less romantic. The process is mostly high heat, accelerated smoking that sacrifices depth of flavor for production speed. Instead of the complex layers you get from slow, cold-smoked bacon, this brand delivers a flat, weak smokiness that vanishes almost instantly in the pan. Texture is another giveaway that something's wrong. Instead of cooking evenly, these slices behave unpredictably. Some pieces curl aggressively, burning on the edges while the center stays limp and fatty. Others barely crisp at all, no matter how long they cook. This inconsistency comes from water injection, a modern shortcut used to increase weight and reduce costs. The added moisture keeps the slices from rendering properly, creating a frustrating cooking experience that ends in disappointment more often than not. The ingredient list reads like a chemistry experiment. Sodium nitrite, sodium phosphate, sodium erythorbate, natural flavors, and added sugar. These additives are meant to simulate bacon flavor rather than allowing real pork and real smoke to do the work. And while the company still advertises itself with the same family-friendly voice, the flavor tells a different story, one that tastes more like a formula than food. This brand's downfall stings the most because it once produced real, dependable bacon. But what made it great has slowly been replaced with shortcuts, additives, and artificial flavoring. It no longer earns its place on the breakfast table through quality, only through memory. And that makes it one of the most disappointing bacon brands in the grocery aisle today. Best number 1, the Clean Label Purist. After 5 heavy hitters on the worst list, it is finally time for a brand that proves great bacon still exists. And this one has built an entire identity around doing things the hard way, the honest way, and the clean way. In a world where most companies drown their bacon in chemical shortcuts, this brand takes the opposite approach. Fewer ingredients, slower processes, and a level of transparency that feels almost old-fashioned. And the results? You can taste the difference instantly. The first thing that sets this bacon apart is what isn't in it. No sodium nitrites, no phosphates, no flavor enhancers, no water injection designed to inflate the weight. The ingredient list is refreshingly simple. Pork, sea salt, and celery powder. A natural curing agent that takes longer, costs more, and requires patience that most corporations can't be bothered with anymore. But that extra time creates a bacon that tastes unmistakably real. You don't get the sharp chemical bite or the salty punch that defines cheaper brands. Instead, the flavor opens slowly, cleanly, like the taste of actual pork seasoned and smoked with intention, not mass production. This brand's pork sourcing is another major advantage. Instead of relying on industrial farms where animals are packed into crowded facilities, it partners with suppliers who prioritize humane treatment and responsible raising. It's not just an ethical difference, it's a flavor difference. Stress affects meat quality, and this bacon proves it. The pork is richer, the fat creamier, and the aroma more appetizing from the moment it hits the pan. Cooking this bacon is a completely different experience from the bottom shelf options. The slices render evenly, crisp beautifully, and maintain their shape without curling into strange, uneven waves. There's no surprise puddle of water flooding your skillet, no chemical smell rising from the pan, just the steady sizzle of real bacon releasing real flavor. Yes, it's more expensive than the corporate bacon fillers, but every penny buys actual craftsmanship. This is bacon made with integrity, not shortcuts. And for viewers tired of disappointment, this clean label brand is a reminder that bacon doesn't have to be. Best number 2, the slow-smoked Texas legend. If the Clean Label Purist is all about simplicity, this next brand is all about craftsmanship, the kind of old-school smokehouse tradition that most companies abandoned decades ago. This Texas legend has earned a cult following for one reason. It treats bacon the way serious cooks believe it should be treated. No shortcuts, no rushed smoking cycles, no artificial boosters, just real wood, real time, and real pork. And when you taste it, you instantly understand why it has become the gold standard for home cooks across the country. The moment you open the package, you can see the difference. The slices are thick, but not cartoonishly thick, and cut with a consistency most brands can only dream of. Each strip feels substantial, with an ideal balance of meat and fat that promises crisp edges and juicy centers. While other brands curl into odd shapes or cook unevenly, these slices stay flat, stable, and predictable, making them the dream bacon for anyone who cares about presentation as much as taste. But the real magic happens in the smokehouse. Unlike the fast-burning, high-heat smoking that defines corporate bacon, this brand uses genuine hickory wood and smokes low and slow for extended periods. Not hours, but days. That patience pays off. Instead of the sharp, artificial smokiness you find in cheap bacon, this one delivers layers of flavor that unfold gradually. Deep, earthy smoke followed by natural pork sweetness and a clean, satisfying finish. It's the difference between instant coffee and a carefully brewed French press. One of the most impressive features is that this brand refuses to play the water injection game. There is no brine solution, inflating the weight, or tricking customers into thinking they are getting more bacon than they are. What you see is what you get, and when the fat renders, it does so cleanly, turning into pure golden flavor instead of a cloudy puddle of foam. This is bacon, made by people who understand that tradition still matters. It's the kind of product that elevates any breakfast, shines in a sandwich, and makes everything it touches taste better. In a grocery world filled with shortcuts, this slow-smoked Texas masterpiece stands as proof that dedication still beats marketing every single time. Best number 3. The honest budget bacon. Not every great bacon has to be premium priced, and this final best pick is living proof. While other brands chase flashy packaging and inflated claims, this one quietly delivers something far more valuable: honesty. It doesn't pretend to be gourmet, it doesn't hide behind buzzwords, and it doesn't rely on chemical shortcuts to mimic real flavor. Instead, it focuses on doing the basics right, using quality pork, real wood smoke, and consistent slicing. And somehow it does all of this while remaining one of the most affordable options in the entire grocery aisle. What really sets this bacon apart is its mastery of the thin slice format. Many companies treat thin bacon as an afterthought, producing strips so fragile they burn instantly or so fatty they shrivel into greasy crumbs. But this brand understands that thin bacon, when done properly, can be incredible, crisp, delicate, evenly browned, and bursting with flavor. Their slices are cut with precision, allowing them to cook evenly from edge to edge without the dreaded burnt fat edges that ruin cheaper products. The smoking process is another area where this brand shines. Instead of using liquid smoke as a crutch, it relies on genuine hickory wood to develop a natural, balanced flavor that enhances the pork rather than masking its flaws. The smoke is gentle but present, the kind that fills your kitchen with a warm, nostalgic aroma instead of the harsh chemical smell cheaper bacon releases. And because they avoid water injection, the bacon doesn't drown your skillet. It sizzles, crisps, and renders cleanly like bacon should. Flavor-wise, it punches far above its price point. There's a deep, umami richness that resembles quality ham, paired with a clean saltiness that complements rather than overwhelms. It is proof that you don't need premium pricing to deliver premium taste, just honest ingredients and proper technique. Most importantly, this brand is consistent. Every package cooks the same, tastes the same, and delivers the same dependable results. No gimmicks, no surprises, no corners cut. In a world where even budget bacon has become a chemistry experiment, this brand stands out by simply respecting the basics. And sometimes, that's all real bacon lovers want. Your breakfast deserves better than shortcuts, chemicals, and water-filled disappointment disguised as bacon. Every time you choose real, honest brands, you're supporting companies that still value craftsmanship over marketing tricks. Stop rewarding the ones who cut corners and start voting with your grocery dollars for flavor that's earned, not manufactured. Drop a comment about the worst bacon you've ever cooked and hit subscribe if you're ready for more truth about what's really hiding in your grocery cart.